Hello everyone, Sidewind here, and today I am going to be walking through how I build a character for Pathfinder Second Edition. So what I have open here is Path Builder. This is a character building application available on the web and on Android phones. I am using it because it gives a very good visual image of it, and it is very convenient for Pathfinder Second Edition, because there are a lot of different things you have to keep track of when you're building a character. So for this character, I'm actually going to click on Core Only to simplify farther. Typically, I recommend that you do not use just Core Only unless you are told to, because it does restrict options. However, it can be useful for creating a base level of a character without overcomplication. So today, I am starting with a concept I've previously created. The concept here is a human noble warrior, the illegitimate son of a king, who uses a polearm and is seeking adventure to create his own wealth. This is based on certain historical figures from the Crusade era. So there's a few things that you can take from that. To start, since I said human, the ancestry is obviously going to be human. If the concept was instead about an elf or an orc, you would select that instead. The background here, I am going to go with, I'll go with noble out of this set, because it is what fits closest to someone who is the son of a king, even if he's not the legitimate son, because he would have still been raised as a noble. For class, I'm going with fighter here. If I was not using core only, I might choose a different class, such as maybe barbarian, if you were going for a Viking type of warrior. But fighter should work well for this type of concept. So then with abilities, you want to have your main class ability being at least a +3. I recommend getting it to a +4 because it is a +5% chance to hit, and that's very useful versus bosses. The other thing with this character is I'm going with heavy armor, so dexterity doesn't need invested into as much. As such, I am going to put a few hit points into Constitution, because he won't have a shield, meaning that you need those extra hit points, just to be careful. I'm also going to put some in Charisma. This will allow the character to use Charisma skills, such as Intimidation, which can be very useful for helping allies at the same time as fighting. Then this last point can kind of it's kind of a floating point. So in this case, I'm going to put it into Wisdom to increase Perception. However, you could easily make an argument for putting it in Intelligence or Dexterity. Say, if you wanted him to have a better chance at shooting at range, note right now you would not want to. Or you might put it in Intelligence if you wanted more skills. In this case, I'm doing Wisdom because I don't have a particular image there. Next, I'm going to select the class skill, in this case Athletics, because Athletics provides athletics maneuvers in combat. This means that this character will be able to trip. I am intending to choose a polearm that has the trip trait, so I'm going to build on that. Then, the additional skill selection, I'm going to put Intimidation first. This provides a combat ability and an out-of-combat ability. And then these other ones kind of are open. So in this case, I'm going to go with Diplomacy and Medicine. Medicine's always good to take if you don't have another skill in mind, because it's a very generalist skill, and there's no penalty to having multiple people in a party with Medicine. Heritage, since he's a normal human, it's going to be Versatile Heritage or Skilled Heritage. Skilled Heritage gives more skills, whereas Versatile gives an additional feat for humans. In this case, I'm going with Versatile Heritage as it gives another class feat. Well, general feat. Said wrong word there. So from here, I could choose various things that fit for a noble. So if you wanted to have a character who rides on an animal, the ride feat here might make sense. However, I'm not really picturing that here, so I'm not going to go with that. Another one, which can be very useful, is Battle Medicine. This is also a good one to pick if you don't have anything else in mind. In this case, I am going to go with Battle Medicine because I really don't have something else in mind. So then, Ancestry feat. These are specific to ancestries, and in this case, I'm going with Natural Ambition. This provides a first level class feat. I mixed up Versatile Heritage and Natural Ambition because the two are both for humans. So from here, I'm just reading through these quick to check. But a lot of these just fit a certain style of choosing what you do. So I'm going to go with Combat Assessment. This provides a bonus when you have Recall Knowledge after hitting an opponent. This is good for increasing an attack bonus, which my goal with this was to create a character who can hit reliably. Then, the second class feat, I'm going to go with Exacting Strike. It makes it so that one of your strikes per turn does not incur multi-attack penalty. So this is good if you're going to hit multiple times. At this point, I'm moving on to equipment. And since I know what one set of equipment is going to be, I'm going to set that now. So Half-Plate is very expensive. You can't afford that with the 15 starting GP, meaning that he can't start with heavy armor, but the goal is to get heavy armor. So in this case, I'm going to choose Chainmail because it's cheaper, but it still provides a good AC bonus. Then I'm going to go over to weapons. And since my picture was a polearm, I'm going to go through these and find one of them as the trip trait right here, the Guesarme. It works well for joining with your typical... It works well with fighters, essentially. That's what I'm trying to say here. So it gives reach, allowing for a lot of crowd control. And it also gives trip, meaning that you can control that area very effectively. Now that I've seen it only costs 2, I'm going to check real quick how much Splint Mail is. It's 13. And then the Guesarme is 2, meaning that he could get the other. He could get Splint Mail. I'm just going to give it because I'm changing that. And then I'm going to go over to gear and set gold to 0. This is a kind of risky thing because it means you have no adventuring equipment. If you wanted to instead have equipment, you swap this for the medium armor. So that is my main character creation process with a martial character. Caster characters get far more complex as there's a lot more variables involved in the form of spells. I thought I would go with the martial character first. If you have any question or comment about how I went through this, please ask in the comments below, and I will see you in the future.